Howdy YouTube family, it's Bolt CRNA coming to you again with another topic. So today we're going to talk about the Oculus Quest. I have bought this a couple weeks ago and I am very impressed with it. It is really cool, cutting edge technology, and I think there are lots of applications that we can use this for, whether it be gaming, technology, travel, all these things. So I want to talk about it and review it with you guys today. So this is it. This is the Oculus Quest. It's kind of it's a headset thing. I'll show you how it fits on your head, like this right here. Cool, huh? Do I look trippy sci-fi? So with this on, it has cameras mounted all over the corners of it here. And these cameras allow you to see everything 360 around you. Now, when you put this on, it actually transports you essentially in your mind to a whole different location. You can be on the middle of a soccer field watching a European football game, which I did that last night. Very cool. I felt like it looked like I was standing right next to the goal. And then I turned around and looked behind me, and you physically turn around and look behind you, and there's like the stands full of people up there, and they're all cheering and stuff, and they look lifelike. It's a video recording essentially, but it feels like you're standing there in that moment. And then I turned around the other way because I heard some noises, and I realized the team was running down the field and they were getting ready to kick the ball, and I could hear them getting closer to me, approaching me from behind. And I turned around and I realized they're like jumping to kick the ball, and they kick the ball, and I can like see the ball whirl past my face as it goes into the goal and stuff, and the goalie dodges and misses it. So it was just really immersive, and then the crowd goes wild and you hear them behind you screaming and stuff. So it's very cool, immersive experience for sporting like that. Then I jumped over and played a game called Beat Saber, which is essentially you have two lightsabers in your hands and you're in this like techno kind of cool futuristic environment, and one's like a blue lightsaber, one's a red lightsaber, and you have these boxes moving towards you really quickly, and you have to like slice them, kind of like Fruit Ninja, but you slice them essentially to the beats of this like techno music and stuff, and you pretty much feel like a badass Jedi who also can techno dance at the same time. Very, very cool. And then I jumped over from that and played what's called Superhot, and that game is actually like a shooter game. So like these guys are running at you in these different rooms, and like you have these guns and you're like shooting, and the bullets are like coming out and they're like knocking guys over. And then another game I played recently that I really enjoyed is called Vader Immortal, and it's actually a 3-part series, and currently I got it for free because the Oculus Quest right now, if you buy it, it comes free with the Vader Immortal 3-part series, which essentially someone who wields a lightsaber and Vader's kind of coming after you. And so there's a whole storyline behind that. So if you're a Star Wars fan like I am, it's really impressive. It really feels like you're standing there in front of Darth Vader holding a lightsaber. You get that menacing feel because he's much taller than you, so he's definitely like a foot taller and you're looking up at him. The audio, it really is immersive too. You can it has speakers right on the sides of it here. It has speakers, so it sounds like on the left and right side, it changes the volume and the like whether you're hearing, I think it's called binaural or something like that. Anyway, it essentially means you can hear objects in the right ear and the left ear depending on what it wants you to think is around you. So you can use it for that purpose, or you can actually, there's headphone jack on the side of it here, and you can plug a headphone jack in and put headphones on. So if you like a really high definition, really great quality audio that you have, maybe with some headphones, you can do that, so that immerses you even more. I have to say, while using this thing, at first I was a little skeptical of it, but as I've been using it, I really have just got this smile on my face because I just feel like my 90s-year-old, my kid self in the 90s is just laughing right now because this is the exact thing that I wanted back then, that sci-fi movies always said that we would have, and that you always imagined gaming would be like one day, and it never really got there. And it's 2020 and you're finally like, man, when are we going to get there? This is pretty much it. This really transports you there. And this technology is impressive to me because this is cutting edge stuff. So as we continue to improve on this in the next couple years, I'm really excited to see where we can go from here with this. if you're not like a gamer who doesn't want to play Star Wars games or Beat Saber or anything like that, what you can do is download the Netflix app or the Amazon Prime Movies app or this other app called Big Screen, where it allows you to watch your TV shows that you like to stream or your movies, and you can pretty much, it like puts your perspective is like you're sitting in a movie theater seat and there's a giant movie theater screen in front of you, and it really feels like you're sitting in a movie theater watching a movie or a TV show. So that's really cool and impressive that you can get this sensation that like you're sitting in a big movie theater. And there's also some apps that allow your friends who also have VR to come in and sit in the movie theater with you, and your two avatar characters are pretty much sitting next to each other while you're both watching a movie together. I haven't used that feature yet because I only have a couple friends with VR and I've just been too busy, but I will give you feedback later about that if I do use that feature. Some of the other apps that are more educational are like National Geographic type applications that you can use for free with this Oculus Quest. There was one that was like talking about sharks, where suddenly I was transported into the deep sea and I looked up and the water level was probably 30 or 40 feet above me, and there were a bunch of sharks swimming around me, and they looked real life, like lifelike projections of sharks swimming right past me. And then the audio was started to identify different features on the different sharks and the liver on the shark and things like that. Started talking about informational things about sharks. So it really gave you an immersive feel where you almost felt like frightened because the shark was like coming at you and it felt like it was about to eat you pretty much. So that was interesting. Another lifelike kind of thing is a spaceship. So it put me on the International Space Station, and I was kind of moving around the space station, and it gave you the sensation of having zero gravity and just kind of floating in air. And it actually, that one almost made me sick. Because it really makes it so immersive that you actually do feel like you are floating and like there's no gravity. So your body kind of responds to that, and you almost feel like it's almost like a roller coaster ride or something, because you just feel like you're floating, even though it's just your audio and visual perception. But it's such a powerful tool that it really tricks your brain pretty much into feeling like you're there. And there were some other ones like the Grand Canyon and some different rainforest stuff. So I think there's this application, I mean, there's just unknown ways that they can use this, where you can essentially travel the world and really feel like you're visiting somewhere else in the world with a VR headset. I'm interested in healthcare with it because I think not only could we use it for educational purposes, like teaching continuing education courses where it feels like we're all in class together and we're all looking at some object together. You could even learn peripheral nerve blocks a little bit like this if you're in VR and you're looking at your hands and you're actually touching things and moving things a certain way and you're inserting things. Just imagine if as a student you could do a subarachnoid block app on this VR, where you've got your headset on and you're fully in the moment and you're using your fingers to go in and you're trying to find the subarachnoid space and you're trying to get CSF and you're going through all of these steps and stuff, that it feels very real to you, and it kind of imprints on you a certain steps and certain ways that you can do certain things, or if you move a certain way you hit bone and you're like, okay, that's the wrong way, or whatever. So you can learn to just kind of troubleshoot and think your way through processes before you ever even go to clinical, and before you even put your hands on a patient. You've already done it 30 times in a VR environment where you really feel like you were there in the moment. You could do that with any of our skills that we learn with anything. Anything in medicine or anesthesia or whatever. You could learn, the entry level things. I'm not saying to replace clinical training with VR headset, but it would be a really good way to get you prepped and ready for that kind of thing. Or maybe say it's been a year or two since you've done OB as a CRNA, and you're taking on a new position in a new practice, and they want you to cover OB, and you want a refresher course before you jump into OB again. You could jump on, throw that VR on and be like, oh yeah, that's right, I do this, this, and this, and it helps, I think. Other ways that you can use the application is like for an anatomy lab. Say you're taking an anatomy course, your program can't afford an actual cadaver. You could have the VR headset on and you could look down. You could like pick up different parts of the muscles. You could dissect out parts of things and stuff. You could have that sensation like you're actually there in the moment doing things, even though it's just auditory and visual, but you would get a lot of that same educational purposes as if you were really there in the moment, even though you're going to miss out on all the preservative smells of those bodies that stick to your nose for like 6 hours after you leave that classroom. Alright guys, those are just some of my ideas about how VR could be used in the future. Ultimately, my review is positive. It's $400, so that's not a cheap object. I understand that. That's not something that while I was still in school or something I would have been able to afford. So I understand not a lot of people can have it right now, but hopefully it becomes less expensive as years go on and the technology continues to come out so that everyone can afford VR, you know, for a fairly cheap price. I really want to support it so more people continue to create more apps on it and continue to grow with this kind of technology so that we can see what we can do in the future with it. I'm really impressed with it. I would purchase again. 2 thumbs up from me. Well, alright guys, that is it. Make sure and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, follow me on Instagram where I upload either stories or pictures pretty much daily and interact with you guys. It's Bolt CRNA over there. And sound off in the comments below. Let me know, do you guys have a VR headset? And if you do, what do you think about it? What do you think we're going to be able to do in the future with VR? And that's Bolt out.